Sarah, we're just getting news that Mike Bloomberg is suspending his campaign for the Democratic nomination for president. Certainly something that was expected to happen after a disappointing Super Tuesday by the former New York City mayor, where he only won American Samoa and picked up a few delegates in Texas. His whole strategy had centered on Super Tuesday, which we saw a shocking sweep of states from Massachusetts through the Midwest and across the South to Texas go to Joe Biden, the former vice president that brought his campaign back from the brink. The current NBC News delegate count sees Biden at 453 delegates, leading Senator Bernie Sanders by 80. Elizabeth Warren has 39, coming in third in her home state. And NBC News reports that Warren is speaking with her campaign today to reassess its path forward. As I mentioned, Michael Bloomberg picked up a single victory in American Samoa and also picked up a few delegates in Texas. Biden spoke in Los Angeles last night. As the results were coming in, it's safe to say he was triumphant.
Just a few days ago, the press and the pundits had declared the campaign dead. And then came South Carolina, and they had something to say about it. And we're told, well, when you got to Super Tuesday, it'd be over. Well, it may be over for the other guy.
Maybe for Bloomberg, but not so fast for Sanders. Maine is currently too close to call, and Sanders leads in California, the most delegate-rich state, which is still too early to call, with just half of votes counted. Mike Bloomberg is close to the threshold that would award him a chunk of California's delegates, but of course, with his new decision to suspend his campaign, it's unclear where those delegates would go. The Bloomberg campaign had previously sought to turn its attention to Michigan and Florida, which will vote in the next 2 weeks, and where he had polled more favorably. Campaign manager Kevin Sheekey said last night that Bloomberg would either be the nominee or the most important person to that nominee. And after Super Tuesday, it's looking like the latter. Guys?
Well, it also looks like he's picking his person in a statement saying that he is endorsing Biden and that he will, quote, work to make him the next president of the United States, which is interesting, Kayla, that he's not waiting to see ultimately who the Democratic nominee for president is at this point.
No, and it will be interesting, Sarah, to see how quickly the funds transfer from the Bloomberg bank account straight to the Biden campaign, with all of the Bloomberg ads up until this point seeking to paint the former vice president as someone who's not fit for office and trying to paint Bloomberg himself as the one that was closer to former President Barack Obama. Clearly, the messaging will have to change pretty rapidly as he seeks to reassess his support and to change the messaging there to divert that funding. And all of that support, about $500 million that he had spent so far, he said that he could spend up to $1 billion or even more to defeat President Trump. So we'll see exactly when that money hits the coffers for Biden.
Kayla, Elizabeth Warren at one point was the talk of this desk, certainly when she was the leader in many of the polls before, obviously, any of the primaries began. Do we expect a similar move by the Warren campaign?
We do, David. I mean, I think that it's safe to say that a third-place finish in your home state is not what you need to engender confidence among an electorate that you have electability in this race. So certainly an announcement from Warren would not be surprising at this point, given that performance. And when I talk to strategists about where Warren's downfall was, they really point to early November. After sustaining various attacks throughout the fall about how she would pay for all of these plans that she put forward, it was in early November that she put some of those pay-fors out, and people felt like she was being a little disingenuous about where the money was coming from and exactly how much these would cost. And so that was really where the polls started cratering for her and where some of the support for these other candidates picked up.
Yeah, that home state calculus was clearly part of Klobuchar's decision to get out of the race. And we'll see if Sanders changes his take on a plurality of delegates going into the convention after taking a stand on it so far.